Welcome. What a beautiful time and a beautiful day. And of course, one amazing moment where you, of course, as a sports lover, particularly a football lover, you want to tell yourself, this is about the time that I need to stick to VOP TV. It is Locker Room right here on VOP TV. My name is David Edwin, and a beautiful time to talk sports, particularly football. And yes, we have so much to serve you this evening. Well, of course, you know very well that so much is happening in the world of football. There is the Champions League. There is also the Europa League. There is also the Europa Conference League. All of these and more, we will serve you just as we go. And yes, I'm not going to be dancing alone today. Well, I'm not going to be striking alone today. I have with me this beautiful evening my striking partner and friend, none other than Oluwatosin Ejalonebu. A very, very good evening to you, my brother.
Good evening, David.
He had to do the shaking because he just told me before we came on air that, look, today I will give you everything that you need to get in terms of banter. But then let's see how it goes from here.
That's why we're in the locker room anyway. The locker room is where things that you cannot be done on the pitch, things that you can't do, that you can't let the other team know that you're doing.
Yeah.
That is where it's been done, and that's why you're at the locker room. So we have to welcome our listeners to another edition of the locker room. It's another interesting time to talk sport, to talk football. To talk about the banter. It's time to drag those people that lost yesterday.
Well, many thanks to all and every single person who's making this show possible. The guys at the MCR, well, when he said to banter some people today, I only remembered one person at the MCR who is an Arsenal fan. I'm talking about Ike Chukwu.
Come on.
Well, we will get to his state, but then let's just come back home. We'll take it, well, they say charity begins at home, where the Super Eagles says at this point, the captain of the side, well, the vice captain, I beg your pardon, I'm talking about William Troost-Ekong, is saying that Peseiro should remain as the Super Eagles coach. Now, Super Eagles defender William Troost-Ekong has urged the Nigerian Football Federation to retain coach Peseiro as the senior national team coach. Recall that Peseiro led Nigeria to the final of the final just concluded 2023 African Cup of Nations, where the team lost 2-1 to Ivory Coast, who were the eventual winners of that tournament. However, in an interview with reporters, the Nigerian international noted that Peseiro should be given a chance to continue the good work with the Super Eagles. Now, I'm going to come to you almost immediately before we pick up the Stanley Mabali story. Do you think Peseiro needs another chance to do better from where he has stopped?
So I come from two different perspectives. There's an argument for Peseiro coming in, staying, and there's an argument against anyway. So the argument for is that yes, we could talk about continuity. The team needs continuity right now. We're heading to the we're heading into a friendly with Argentina very soon.
And of course, there is
and after there's Nations Cup next year also. There's also a World Cup qualifier. That even before the Nations Cup next year, there's also World Cup qualifiers this year. We're going to play South Africa and Benin sometime in I think November. And so there's this game to prepare for. You need that consistency. You need that continuity.
True.
You need that stability in the squad. You don't want somebody that's going. You don't want the new coach to come and say, "I want to tweak things." This is not the time you need. We're already number 28 in the world. This is not the time you want to be tweaking things right now. But like I said earlier, I have for against. People might argue that okay, his style of play is not what the Super Eagles should want to rely on. He plays a 3-4-3 formation. He's too defensive. He doesn't play attacking football, and he looks as if. Yes, it looks as if that he's too rigid. He's not willing to tweak things. We saw a lot of tweaks.
But let me pick you up on this tactical part. Do you think that Peseiro is not tactically fluid? If you say yes, the question would now be: does the Super Eagles of Nigeria possess that material enough for the coach to take on his fluidity in that team?
So, okay, I'll make those arguments for and against, like I said earlier. So, his reliance so much is on so many of these foreign-based players. You have some department that you said, okay, especially in the midfield area, you don't have a lot of options, especially on the attacking midfield area. Alex Nwobi has played below par. We saw his performance at the African Cup of Nations. I don't want to dwell on that because of the issues that he had. Also, there have been conversations about him looking into the local league.
Okay.
This guy should look into the NPFL. There's a lot of attacking midfielders you could bring into the squad. We're seeing them. We've seen some people get minutes in the squad, but they didn't get. We've seen some people get called up, but they didn't get to play. We saw this man that used that played for Bender Insurance come into the squad. Okay. He had no playing time. He didn't play any game. We had Peseiro Bashiru get some minutes, and that's the last we have seen of him. We've seen in the attacking midfield also. This guy can also play as an attacking midfielder, but not really a creative attacking midfielder, but as a supporting striker. That's Gift Urban. We saw Gift Urban get a call up in the squad. Didn't get any minutes, and now he's no longer with our squad. So where is that consistency? You talked about he's trying to, some of the players have been consistently called up. You have the likes of Joe Aribo who have not shown that attacking midfielder zeal in a while now.
So in other words, you would agree with me that Nigeria does not really have that top creative midfield power to allow a Peseiro tweak the team and of course his tactical fluidity be seen.
So you don't get what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Nigeria is not squeezed with talent anyway. If you need an attacking midfielder, look outside. There are so many. It was when you looked outside. It looks as if we're not going to find the solution to the goalkeeping problem. It looks as if it looks like a problem that's not going to get solved until Sterling Nwabali.
Well, I'm still going to hold you to. I'm still going to hold you on that because yes, we know that Coach Peseiro went to Chippa United to meet with Stanley Nwabali, and of course we see the results at AFCON.
We saw the results.
But still talking about Nwabali, let's move on to the next story almost immediately. Nigerian international. I'm talking about former Nigerian international, ex-Super Eagles goalkeeper Aloyagu has come out to say, hey, Nwabali was exceptional for the Super Eagles at the AFCON. Now, former Nigerian international Aloyagu has lauded the exceptional performance of the Super Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali at the just concluded 2023 African Cup of Nations. Selected by coach Jose Peseiro just a few weeks to the competition, Nwabali's contribution was instrumental in Nigeria's journey through the tournament. Notably, he kept 4 clean sheets in the 7 matches, showcasing his exceptional goalkeeping skills on the international stage. Now, despite the Super Eagles losing the final to Ivory Coast 2-1, Agu in a chat stated that Chippa United goalkeeper has done well for himself and deserves even more color. Now, at this point, we look at Stanley Nwabali. Do you see Stanley Nwabali leaving Chippa United pretty soon?
That transfer is happening, but how soon? That's what I kind of see. Because we know.
So you agree that it's going to happen pretty soon?
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
The next quick question is, Peter Rufai has come out to say, look, right now Jose Peseiro seems like he's solved the problem of the goalkeeping department for Nigeria. Aloyagu also is coming out to say, hey, this guy looks like the next best thing after some names.
Yes.
Do you share this sentiment?
So the reason why I said this sentiment is that what we get in a Stanley Nwabali is a patriotic Nigerian. It's a Nigerian that when he dons that shirt, he's ready to give.
Are you saying other goalkeepers don't do that?
He's ready to give a 100 and a 1,001% mental, 1,001% for the team. And the reason why I say is that I'm not saying that other goalkeeper doesn't show this, but the reason what he shows this, he shows in everything he does, in the way he speaks, in the way he had in his communication during the game, in his mentality as a player himself.
Oh well.
When he's donning that shirt, it looks as if we get a different man. I've not seen him too much with Chippa United, but I know that what I saw at that AFCON with this man is somebody that he has that right mentality. He has that patriotic Nigerian. He has that I'm donning my national team shirt.
All right, from one national team to another, well, I would agree with you that Stanley Nwabali surely do know how to really manage that defense line.
That's what we get.
Eagles. But then let's move from one goalkeeper to another goalkeeper, and this time we'll be going all the way to South Africa, where the South African goalkeeper, I'm talking about Rowan Williams, has reiterated that it was really difficult for him to replicate his penalty heroics against the Super Eagles in the semi-final of the 2023 African Cup of Nations. Recall that after saving 4 out of 5 penalties against DR Congo in the quarterfinals, Williams was full of confidence to repeat the same feat, but failed to save any penalty. However, Williams stated that he made every attempt to settle Nigeria's penalty takers, but acknowledged that his plan did not yield the desired results. The Super Eagles beat South Africa 4-2 in the shootout to progress to the final, where they eventually lost 2-1 to Ivory Coast. Now, very interesting times for William Rowans. He actually thought that the Super Eagles were going to go almost the way of the DR Congo players.
In penalty is a game of, it's actually a game of tactics anyway, and it's a game of psychology anyway, psychology and emotion. So a lot of emotions was playing through his mind. It got, and don't consider that Rowan was coming in from that game coming into that game saving 4 penalties against the DR Congo team. So that gives the player the right emotions and the right psychology going to do that game, that okay, I've saved it before, I can do this again.
Okay.
So some people might say maybe he got too overconfident, but the Ivorians, he had thousands of Ivorians watching him and were praying that he loses. And under that pressure, he was still calm and he started eating. So you had that kind of player take that penalty. You had Kenneth Omeru that I mentioned earlier. You also had a Kelechi Iheanacho that has played an FA Cup final and won.
Very interestingly, the Super Eagles
it's a well-stacked match.
Had a major confidence.
He should cut himself some slack.
But from the guys, we'll go to the ladies, and I'm talking about the Super Falcons. But these would have to put a pause on that. That's definitely we'll be getting after this very short break. I beg your pardon. Locker room will be coming up shortly, just after this break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. It is still Locker Room, and we are definitely giving you all of the instincts and all of the tactics and all of the information that you need to know, and of course how they fly and how they happen on the Locker Room. All right, I said earlier before the break that we would be going from the Super Eagles to the Super Falcons, where Ifeoma Onumonu is confident that the Super Falcons will qualify for the 2024 Olympic Games. Now, the Super Falcons will keep a date with the Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon in the first leg of their third qualifying tie on Friday. Now, their encounter will hold at the Stade de la Reunification in Douala. The West Africans last appeared at the Olympics in 2008. Onumonu is, however, a bit that the Super Falcons will secure the ticket this time around. Well, hopefully, we're wishing the Super Falcons the best of luck. Now, from there on, we'll move straight to the MPFL, where The head coach of the Norwegian club Hakam FC, Chris Tweety, has described Eimba Football Club's youth development project as a talent factory. Tweety made the commendation during one of the training sessions at the ongoing one-week Eimba Hakam Partnership Program at the Eimba International Stadium in Aba. According to Tweety, Eimba have a lot of talent in their under 15, under 17, and under 19 teams. The impressed Norwegian said although the young players showed a bit of tiredness after an intensive 220 minutes training session, the tactical training usually takes. Bardakik, that's the FIFA agent that came with them, arrived on Friday in Aba for that one-week program. Now, looking at this, do you see any form of talent drain? Because let's face it, when these guys come, they look at these young stars, and of course they pick the ones that are quite of top quality to go play their trade abroad. Do you see this as a talent drain for the Aba club?
So unfortunately, no. I'll have to disagree with you on this. These guys are coming in as in form of partnership, and it's a training partnership anyway. Yeah. They'll come in, they'll scout some of these young men. Some of them will get a go, but to get to go to Europe, they're going to develop. Those that get to develop might get, some of them possibly later in the year might get to play for the Super Eagles. It's still a win-win for the nation. But for the NPFL right now, it's rare. Maybe those at the under 17 level might get recruited, but for the under 15, the under 19. Maybe on the under 19, that's what I'm talking about, might be the ones that get recruited. But for the under 15, the under 17, even the under 18, some of these guys will likely not get a club that's going to pick them up right now because of migration rules in Europe. You need you're going to have to enroll them in school, ensure that they have a foster parent that you're going to pay every month because they are not at that age. They are not able to. You can't take a 15-year-old to Norway or to Denmark, for example, and not put him and just ask him to be living alone. You have to put him under someone until he's 18 or 19 or even 20 or even 21 in some countries in Europe.
That is nothing to get worried about.
So right now, that is not what to get about. Is that it's just that it's good that our 9-time champions are doing this anyway, because I'm hoping that other IPFL clubs can also adapt this, because we're already seeing that some of this privately. I have a lot of challenge. My challenge is not really with the privately run club. This privately run club seem to be understanding this. We could see more stars in the league. Have an academy. Have a very good academy called Beyond Limits, doing excellently well. They play in the second division of the league right now, the NLL. I think they're second in their log. Because the table is divided into two. They're second on they're second in their bracket. Second in their bracket. They're currently playing a competition right now in Italy. In Italy, these guys are also playing they are also playing a league, a privately run league in the Southwest.
In other words, the partnership between Hakam FC and Eimba is a plus for Eimba.
It's a plus for Eimba, and we are hoping that this does not end here.
All right.
We are hoping that some of these youngsters can get exposed to, because most times when we talk about training partnership like this, we get it for the senior team. But it's good that it's coming to these young lads, because we need to catch them young.
Okay, now let's move on.
Better like that. It's better that way.
Let's move on from there. From there on, let's just tell you that Victor Boniface, Nigerian international and Bayern Leverkusen striker, is named among Bundesliga's most skillful stars, and that's an interesting one. Victor Boniface has secured a nomination among the most skillful players in the ongoing 2023-2024 Bundesliga campaign so far. After this move from Unon XG last July, the Super Eagles striker wasted no time making an impact under the guidance of manager Xavi Alonso. Boniface's initial was nothing short of impressive, netting 10 goals in 16 matches. However, his promising run hit an abrupt halt due to a groin injury, forcing him to miss the 2024 African Cup of Nations held in Ivory Coast. Now, despite his current injury setback, the striker's noteworthy performance have not gone unnoticed. The spotlight now shines on a particular display of individual brilliance during Leverkusen's Bundesliga clash against RB Leipzig at the Bay Arena in August 2023. Now, in that time, Boniface executed a cunning feint, deceiving the marker into anticipating a right-footed shot, only to cleverly pass the ball with his left foot. Although he didn't find the net, Leverkusen emerged victorious with a 3-2 scoreline. Now, Boniface, every single person is talking about him. A lot of persons have come out to say this guy is super impressive. Now, at the time of this report, Jordan Sancho leads the poll with an impressive 75% of the votes. Xavi Simon secures the second position with 17%, while Boniface currently holds 5%. Now, Hoffenheim's Kramaric and Dortmund's Ncher trail behind 1% and 2% of the votes, respectively. Now we can go on and on about Boniface.
So it's an extremely brilliant player. The way he plays, and he showed a lot of maturity under the guidance of Xabi Alonso, like you mentioned earlier. He's improving day in, day out. He's somebody that we are hoping that he can get fit and finally show that impact he can show for the Super Eagles. Okay. So it makes perfect sense that he's on that list. Already the players that we're seeing on the list also are impressive. Xavi Simons has been impressive for the Frenchman, has been impressive for RB Leipzig this season anyway. Also
Jadon Sancho
back to Dortmund. I think it's also. I think Jadon Sancho is also as a result of emotions. He has not really done much for that team anyway since returning back. We saw their Champions League game 2 weeks ago.
I like to hold you on that emotions. Well, of course, that brings us to the next story, and that's about Dani Alves, sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for sexual assault. Now, again, that's an emotional thing for quite a lot of persons. Now, former Barcelona and Brazilian star Dani Alves have been sentenced to 4.5 years in prison after being found guilty of sexual assaults. In Catalonia, top court found Alves guilty of sexually assaulting a woman at an upscale Barcelona nightclub early on New Year's Eve in 2022. According to the victim, Alves, who was arrested in January 2023, raped her in a bathroom. The Brazilian, a former Juventus and PSG defender, was also ordered to pay $150,000 to the victim by the court. The 40-year-old, I beg your pardon, has been detained since then and has requested for bail denied as the court considers him a flight risk. The Brazilian Federal Constitution guarantees that no Brazilian citizen can be extradited by the country. Now, state prosecutors were told by the victim that on the night of the assault, she danced with Alves and willingly entered the nightclub bathroom, but when she later wanted to leave, he would not let her. She said he then slapped her, insulted her, and forced her to have sexual relations against her will. Alves denied any wrongdoing during the trial, telling the court, "I am not that kind of a man." As the case was being investigated, Alves said while in custody that he did not have any sexual contact with her. He later admitted to having sexual relations with the victim, but said they were consensual. He said he had been trying to save his marriage by not admitting to the encounter initially. During the trial, Alves' defense focused on trying to show that he was drunk when he met the woman. State prosecutors had also sought a 9-year prison sentence for Alves, while the victim's lawyer wanted 12 years. His defense had asked for his acquittal, or, if found guilty, a 1-year sentence plus $50,000 in compensation for the victim. Meanwhile, the court's decision can be appealed, as the state prosecutor's office said it will study the verdict and then consider whether or not to appeal. Now, Dani Alves, I don't know, every other person would want to say, why deny in the first place when you know that you are guilty? He's been sentenced to 4.5 years, but a system that works.
So it's a system that works anyway. Dani Alves is somebody that had a prolific career. He won so many trophies while playing during his playing career.
Yeah, he's one of the most decorated players.
Yes. across the globe anyway. Across the globe, worldwide, he's one of the most decorated players.
Very true.
Won everything that needs to be won. Won everything that needs to be won. He's a World Cup winner, a Champions League winner. Name it. He won so many trophies for Barcelona also. Even when he went out of Barcelona, went to Brazil, still won competition over there. So it's unfortunate that it's ending like this. I hope that this is not what a lot of people will remember by him winning. This is one of the things that we keep talking about as humans, that we should be responsible. We should know that, yes, he might argue that he was drunk, but a lot of people argue that a man acts as his conscience when he's drunk. So, so this is what is unfortunate, but he does have to pay for the crime he did. Because he might say that that's why that in some countries they make laws like say yes is yes, your no is no.
Okay.
So if you feel that she's giving any nudge, even if she has initiated it, because it seems as if from what you just said right now, she talked about him voluntary going with the bathroom with him. You don't go into the bathroom with somebody.
You don't believe that stuff.
No, I believe, but I'm saying that once maybe the both of them has actually initiated sex, and if one party says I'm no longer interested, you just have to walk away. Maybe I sense that is where the line is, and that's why some countries across the world are already making laws to make those to plug in those loopholes that don't claim that you are drunk. Once you have said no, your no is no. If she has given you a no that I'm no longer interested, even though she is the one she had initiated in the first place, she's no longer interested.
A no is no. And at this point, let's go straight to Sevilla, where former Real Madrid defender, the legend, one of the legends, because you can't write off Real Madrid's history without having a Sergio Ramos in that book. Sevilla defender Sergio Ramos has revealed that he won't celebrate if he scores a goal against Real Madrid. Now, this weekend's clash against Real Madrid will mark the former captain's return to his old club after leaving 2 years ago. However, in an interview with journalists, Ramos stated that he has so much respect for the fans and the club entirely. In his words, said, I have a lot of respect for the fans and all of Real Madrid, and if I score, I will not celebrate. If I have the chance to score, I won't hesitate, as we need the 3 points. It is going to feel like home because I was there for many years and had the most important moments of my career there. It will be a unique and emotional moment for me. Real Madrid returning to Santiago Bernabeu. What an emotional moment is going to be for him.
It's going to be an extremely emotional moment. He had over 10 years with the club before Farrell and Bayern.
Winning everything, winning everything.
Football. Yes, winning everything. Won the Champions League, won the La Liga for them, won the Super Cup, won the FIFA Club World Cup. Name it. Anything you can win as a club footballer, playing in Europe, Sergio Ramos has won it. And finally buying out of the club, playing in PSG for a while, and back in Spain. So you could see that a lot of emotions on the eyes of the players. I'm sure he's going to get an applause when he gets to the stadium. He's a legend of the club. Some will say that in the moment he retires, there's a role for him in Real Madrid anyway.
I won't be surprised either.
I won't be surprised anyway. So I understand if he says I don't want to celebrate because I don't want to burn the bridges. I'm not yet. It's a club that has so many history.
I think that's about it. Not burning bridges.
No, not burning bridges. Yes,
it's a beautiful one. All right, let's from there move straight to England, where Manchester United part owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants Man United to knock out Man City and Liverpool off their pitch. Now, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has revealed plans to restore the greatness of Manchester United within 3 years and knock away Manchester City and Liverpool off their pitch. Now, speaking at the Ineos office, United's new part owner set out a vision to refurbish Old Trafford for around £1 billion or build a new stadium or the same site with the hope of securing public funds. Ratcliffe also confirmed United's pursuit of sporting director Dan Ashworth, who had been placed on garden leave by Newcastle, a decision he feels is absurd. Still talking Manchester United, let's just do there. It's going to be like a double header here so that Tosi can react. The injury worries of Manchester United keep increasing as Manchester United fear defender Luke Shaw could be out for the rest of the season due to a muscle injury sustained during the team's 2-1 win over Luton Town. a source has told reporters as well. Now, Shaw started the game at Kenilworth Road on Sunday, but was substituted before halftime. The left back was also substituted at halftime in the 2-1 win over Aston Villa a week earlier. After undergoing medical tests this week, there are fears that Shaw's leg injury could rule him out for months rather than weeks, with the 28-year-old now facing a battle to return before the end of the campaign. Now, the club posted a statement on Tuesday that reads, Luke Shaw has sustained a muscle injury and will be out for an extended period. Further assessment is still needed to determine the severity, but we expect him to be absent for a few months. An extended absence would also make Shaw a doubtful ahead of England's campaign at the Summer's European Championships in Germany. It's another blow for Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, and who is also without centre-back Lisandro Martinez. Now, these two stories. Luke Shaw, injured, out for months. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is looking forward to put Manchester United back at the pinnacle of world football in 3 years. What do you make of this? And of course, talking from Manchester United fan perspective, that you are.
So I'll react to Luke Shaw's story quickly, and I'll say this: it's unfortunate that for the club right now, we see what Luke Shaw brings into this team, especially because once Luke Shaw is available, you see the squad building a lot from the left, building play a lot from the left. You see you see the goalkeeper Onana relating most of his passes to the left rather than to the right. So it's an unfortunate blow right now. Maybe Erik ten Hag would have been considering his decision to return back Reguilón back to Tottenham. And now he has been sent on another loan to Borussia Dortmund. So maybe they are going to be ruining some of those decisions right now for making these decisions.
But there is still
because Tyrell Malacia is not also back. We don't know if he's still going to.
There is still Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka is not also back. Diogo Dalot is the only one that can play. Diogo Dalot is the only one that can play on the left side of things.
Yes, and then Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka is also injured right now. We don't know when he's going to be back soon. Tyrell Malacia, we don't know when he's also going to be back soon. So unfortunately, this is dire time for him. It means that probably the next game against Fulham is going to have to play with Victor Lindelof on the left back side of things, like he did when he brought out Luke Shaw came out of the game. So let me move on to Ratcliffe. I think his position is interesting. It makes perfect sense. It makes good sense for him to be saying he's saying the right things right now. Talk is cheap, like they say. But I don't want to say talk is cheap because they have not only done the talking, they have also done the actions. They got Omar Bereda as a new CEO for the club. They're concerned about structuring, and that's what they have done. They're getting Dan Ashworth as the new sporting director for the club. They're going to be relieving the other guy, John Newton from his role as a club sporting director. And there are talks about them bringing in a new head of recruitment. So it looks as if these guys are considered about structure. He's a fan of the club. He wants to get the club back to the right place. He's saying the right things right now. I hope that they can continue on the pace that they have started.
Hope is what we definitely would want to always stay with. I mean, a man devoid of hope is as good as dead. But then let's move from England and then, of course, run straight to Italy, where we have the new manager of Napoli, but caretaker manager, if you want to call him that. He's come out to say, I don't look at names. And that is more like his sounding warnings to his players. Now, Napoli caretaker coach Francesco Cazorla warned Victor Osimhen and his teammates that he would not look at their names before taking the Champions League game home draw with Barcelona, whereas Scalia in particular was hauled off before Napoli's equalizing goal. Now, the Georgian caught a disappointing figure after he was replaced by Jesper Lindrum. Osimhen, on the other hand, was substituted immediately after netting the leveler. Cazorla also revealed he was not remotely tempted to keep Osimhen on for longer after the equalizer. Now, still talking Osimhen, of course, you know very well that he scored the equalizer that gave Napoli that 1-1 draw at the Napoli Stadium, where, well, Barcelona already had been, taking the lead in that game. But Osimhen marks his return from AFCON with a well-taken strike as he cancelled off Robert Lewandowski's opener for Barcelona. Now, after a goalless first half, the Polish striker opened the scoring for Barcelona in the 60th minute. But with 15 minutes left, Osimhen equalized for Napoli as he received a pass from Zambo Anguissa, out-muscled his marker before slotting into the net. Well, 2-1 in less than maybe 1 minute thereabout. The manager is saying he's not looking at names.
The manager is saying this anyway. Unfortunately, that game was his first game in charge.
Yes.
He just got in about two. I think he had only one training with the team before finally making that game. A lot of people were calling for Osimhen to return, and a lot of the Napoli fans were calling for Osimhen's return in that game, and it looks as if it looks as if that he responded to their call and started him in that game, and he gave them the goal that got them a draw. They're going to be going to the Camp Nou next year. They are what we now call the Spotify Camp Nou.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this. To see what they do. It's good that he's saying the right things anyway. They are not two more big players in the squad, so it's not a racist issue when it comes to Osimhen, because it's not
of course, Osimhen that's Kvaratskhelia as well.
Yes, Kvaratskhelia is also affected anyway. It shows that he's willing to take the job, and this man will want to impress, because right now he still got the job on an interim role, and in the summer the club is looking to appoint a new general manager, but they are hoping that if he performs, maybe he can retain.
Osimhen's goal, the equalizer. Take us through it. You saw that goal. You saw that match.
Yes.
What do you make of that goal? I mean, typical Osimhen?
Oh yes, a typical Osimhen. Is showing a typical Osimhen, a typical striker that is willing to take advantage of his strength. Taking advantage of his strength was what he did over there. Players like Robert Lewandowski has also done that in the past. Also, we're seeing Didier Drogba do that in the past. We're seeing Sergio Aguero also do that in the past, relying on their strength sometimes, or also to bag in the goals, and that's what he did.
We still stay with Champions League. Yes. There was a game also that was played yesterday. I'm talking about the FC Porto game against Arsenal. It ended 1-0 in favor of FC Porto. At the sports program in the morning, that Sports Republic on VOP TV, I recalled yesterday telling Kizike, who was the anchor, I told him, look, if Arsenal do Arsenal, then Arsenal will lose to Porto. And it sounded like I was trying to really banter Arsenal, but it happened almost at the last kick of the game.
Interestingly, I think I was telling you yesterday, and I told Jerry also, I said, Porto is not a team that you need to underrate anyway. They are not a small team when it comes to Champions League. I think they are even bigger than Arsenal when it comes to Champions League football. They have played more Champions League games than their Champions League winner. Anyway, you can't forget under Jose Mourinho.
Oh yeah.
Under Jose Mourinho, and they have not. And now they are playing against a side that has not been in the Champions League for 7 years, if I'm not wrong. So they are not an underdog going into that game. Yes, Arsenal is in a good form of run, won 6 goals to nothing. His last game also won 5 goals to nothing. But that doesn't mean you're playing a side that understands Champions League football. And you are playing with a coach, Sergio Conceição. Their coach has been in that club for more than over 5 years, if I'm not wrong now. And you are playing with that kind of coach.
Some persons say the bullets and the gun of the Gunners seem to have finished. After the...
You start want me to deliver banter into their hands. But if that's the route you want to go.
Okay, we're just going to hold you there. Let's just move. We're still staying in Europe because later today, I think some games should have been on presently. Interestingly, right? We'll just go to Europe, where the Europa League games are on today. Would have to just run through some of the fixtures. Freiburg will be taking on Lens. Karabakh will be taking on Braga. AC Milan against Rennes. AC Milan would Samuel Chukwueze return.
Yes, Samuel Chukwueze return anyway, and they won the first leg anyway. So in San Siro.
Yes.
So they're playing against the very, very interesting side. Rennes is a very brilliant team. They're good side when it comes to they are one of the good sides when it comes to French football.
Okay.
But winning this game is going to be difficult for them. They are playing an AC Milan side who has played the Champions League, who got to the semi-final of the Champions League.
Now, I'm still going to hold you on that Champions League. Do you think Arsenal would defeat FC Porto at the Emirates?
like you said earlier, maybe I'm going to quote you. If Arsenal do Arsenal.
Come on, man. I can't believe you're going to go that route. Okay, let's still give you some. You're still going to come back to the answer. Let me give you the rest of the fixtures at the Europa League today. Toulouse will be hosting Benfica, while Feyenoord will be going away to AS Roma, an AS Roma team without Jose Mourinho. Also, Marseille, with the new manager, the former Ivorian coach, Luis Garcia, will be at home waiting for Shakhtar Donetsk, while Sparta Prague will be waiting for Galatasaray. Young Boys will be going away to Sporting CP. Now, those are the games for the Europa League. Well, you've seen that on the screen. Interestingly, one of the major games for me today would be that game between Shakhtar Donetsk and Marseille. I don't know about anybody, but I think Shakhtar has that thing that they really, really want to.
I think Marseille is home. They got a lot of history when it comes to European football.
Yeah, Marseille is home.
So I think they might tip this one off, except barring any unforeseen circumstances. This Ukrainian side, Shakhtar Donetsk, is also an experienced side when it comes to. Not as much as Marseille doesn't have the history, doesn't have that doesn't have that European history, just like Marseille does. Okay. It's going to be an interesting game.
The final part of Europe, of course, the tournament in Europe is the top tier of Europe. The Europa Conference League, where you find games going on today. Bodo Glimt will be hosting Ajax, painfully Ajax is there. Dynamo Zagreb will be waiting for Real Betis, while Servette will be going away to Ludogorets. Entering Frankfurt will be hosting Royal Union, and Ferencváros will be taking on Olympiacos, while Liga Warsaw will be hosting Molde, and Sturm Graz will be going away to Slovan Bratislava. In the Italian Serie A, Torino today will be at home waiting for Lazio. Lazio looks like spoilers, but of course, interestingly, we'll see how that game would go. If you can, these games doesn't cost an arm or a leg. You can see them at the viewing center close to you, but most carefully, please, if you have to do that, if you have some health challenges, please, we beg you, try as much as you can to stay away from that game. That's about the size of the show this beautiful evening. I want to say super thank you to every single person who was here. But then, your final words before I let you go.
So my final words, stick to the game of sports. It's a game that unifies. It's a game, especially the game of football. It's a game that unifies. It's a game that encapsulates and development. So what safely, like David has said earlier, if you have underlying issues, you stay off some particular games that you're going to get too much attached to. Yeah. Let's keep praying. Let's keep preaching the message of peace, because in football we also preach the message of peace. All right. We got around. Thank you so very much for being here, Tosi, and I surely do hope that some other time you always be here. Very dependable at all times. All right, we gotta go. Thank you so very much for being here. For every single person who made the show possible, from my man Paul to Alex, and of course to Shego, and yes, the Arsenal guy, Ike Chukwu. We want to say thank you guys for making this show a reality. But of course, to you out there who have, oh yeah, I see Manfred. Manny, my man. One hard man. But of course, to you out there who have taken your time to see us this beautiful evening, I want to say thank you so very much. As we go, we'll always say this. I'll always say this. Don't forget to always prefer Nigeria. There is no great nation like ours. Until we come again, same time tomorrow. Have an amazing day ahead. God bless Nigeria.